car theft. That's what I was talking about just before the break. It's becoming more sophisticated. Makes sense as our cars become more sophisticated. Criminals are adapting to the technology. AMI Insurance has received nearly 700 claims for stolen or attempted stolen cars in Auckland this year, so far this year, and we're in the third month, including 22 cases involving keyless entry cars that were locked at the time. Auckland had the most car thefts, followed by Canterbury and then Waikato. AMI noted that while these thefts remain a small portion of overall cases, thieves are learning how to exploit modern technology to gain access. Older cars, particularly models from 2005 to 2007, which is where my lovely car sits in, are still the most targeted due to their abundance and easier access. Despite these concerns, though, AMI has seen a 20% drop in theft claims compared to last year. Overseas trends are suggesting that criminals are using pirated software to clone ignition keys, allowing them to steal vehicles without visible damage. No longer having to smash windows or jig the locks. Auckland's Fredco Motors Director Craig Draper warns that these techniques, which have been prevalent in the UK, are likely to become more common in New Zealand. And he joins me now. Craig, good afternoon.
Leah, good afternoon.
Hey, Craig, do you think more advanced theft tech is on the way? And I believe I just mentioned the UK. They're experiencing thieves targeting modern cars, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Overseas reports and studies are showing that thieves are targeting particularly late model Land Rovers, Range Rovers, Jaguars, particularly in the UK, where they are doing what you said, cloning keys.
Wow.
Or stealing keys, cloning keys, and just literally driving away with the vehicles.
So I would have thought, keyless entry is designed obviously to make it easy for us that own these kind of cars. I would have thought it would have made it harder to steal in the long run because of all the tech, but it seems to be proving wrong.
Well, exactly. That was the whole point of immobilizers within cars and taking away the actual old-fashioned ignition key.
Yeah.
Was the deterrent, and people generally in New Zealand, that's why you buy a key with a car with an immobilizer type key. However, I'm led to believe that these thieves are actually got equipment that can walk up to your garage door, and if your keys are hanging on the good old hook by the front door or in the car or on the garage, they can walk up with a microwave type device that can literally clone the key without even touching it. And then they wander on back, clone a key, go away, make a key. We're talking a card or a fob, not an actual blade anymore.
Yeah.
And then just turn up when they like and open the doors and push the buttons and drive away with your car.
Wow. So you're saying they're not even having to visibly see it. They just hope that it's on the other side of a door, and then it reads it through Bluetooth kind of thing.
Literally radar technology that will read the key fob and take the encryption of the coding and copy it and steal your car. And of course, cars are getting stolen. The interesting thing is, if you steal a 2024 Land Rover, what do you do with it, and where does it go? So
what do you do with it?
That part of the equation or the question, I'm not sure what the answer is. Do they go overseas or do they put them in containers
strip them down?
Off to, strip them down. But then, the demand for late model parts, it's quite a small market. But in New Zealand anyway, but I guess the UK and things get shipped around Europe easily.
Yeah. I see that AMI said that the Toyota Aqua was still the most stolen car in the country, followed by the Toyota Corolla and the good old Nissan Tida, is it? Would you know, is there locking? What's your theory? Is it their locking systems easy to break into, or are they just little cars that are, I don't know?
Yeah, in my business, we deal with many stolen and recovered vehicles with the panel beaters we deal with. And Aquas have a little very small quarter glass in the front window. You just simply smash that little small glass, pop your hand around, open the door, and because it's still got the early Aquas without the immobilizer key, is very easy to steal. Fielders, Titas, Demios, Aqua, they're the top four. And they've got the tools, they just pop them in the ignition, they pull the ignition out, put a screwdriver in and drive away.
And they're a dime a dozen
That's
too, Craig, aren't they?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
um,
absolutely.
look, we try to do our best, locks, and you lock your car, of course, you put an alarm, and cars come now with the alarms already in them. You put a wheel locks. I
Mm,
used to have them years ago. But thieves always seem to find a way, Craig. They're one step
yeah.
ahead,
You
aren't
know,
they?
Irony, you mentioned the old-fashioned steering lock. That actually
Yes.
probably one of the best still physical deterrents,
Is
because they've
it?
got to come with a hacksaw and cut a section out of the steering wheel to get rid of that, and that's noisy, time-consuming, and the likelihood of getting caught is a lot higher.
Yeah.
So that old-fashioned steering lock, as clumsy as it is
Yeah.
probably your best bet if you've got an old car that is on the hit list of stolen.
On the hit list. I see that my car is a 2007. It's made it into the most targeted due to their abundance and easier access. That's not good
Yeah,
to hear.
no,
What am I
no.
supposed to do to my car?
Keep it,
Um,
keep it off the street.
Keep it off the street, which I do. Is there
Mm.
any way car manufacturers can stay ahead of this new kind of theft tactic?
I think it's car theft and car technology is all a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
The car makers make the immobilizer, and the pirates try and copy it, and then they up the encryption. The manufacturer keeps moving, so it's just a rolling game really of one group trying to keep up with the other group.
So you're a mechanic and you're the owner of Fredco Motors, Craig. You said you deal with Before you said you're dealing with a lot of stolen vehicles. No, what is your
Yes, lots
role
of
with
stolen.
this? So what
Oh,
happens?
well, generally a stolen recovered car goes to a panel beater because it's usually got some panel damage, lock damage. But we
Yeah,
always carry out a mechanical inspection and a wheel alignment to
yeah,
make sure that there's enough that they haven't driven it. You know, some of these guys, they steal cars and they drive them through paddocks, they drive them downstairs being
yeah.
chased by police. Or so we do a mechanical check to make sure that even though there's only a few scratches, have they blown up the transmission or have they driven it through through rocks and stones and stairs and things which damage the mechanical things that you can't see, and then that
Mm,
obviously sometimes ends up a total loss because of
yeah.
the mechanical damage from the stolen.
What's the like? Give us some stories or a story of a car that you'll never forget that came to you. Have you been surprised by anything you've seen over the years?
Yeah, we have. We had some, and I mentioned cars driving downstairs. There was a car that came here that had been involved in a police chase that had driven through St Kevin's Arcade and K Road and down the stairs and into Myers Park, and the police had followed it. And the police car I also had here, and the police car was in really second-hand condition as well. So
Oh.
yeah, that one had been driven down a set of stairs. I think they thought they're in the Goodbye Pork Pie reincarnation or something.
And that would have
So yeah, we
blown.
see some interesting.
That would have ruined everything, I'm sure. Like, did
Oh yeah,
that blow out anything?
that was the end of it. Yeah, that car wasn't getting
Yeah.
fixed.